Netanyahu is a liar, and he's lied to the Israeli people. So one of the things that has happened with these documents being released is that Benjamin Netanyahu has been exposed to the Israeli public as a liar. Now, many people suspected him of this, but now there's no longer a debate about this. The families of the hostages are a very politically powerful constituency, and he has now shown that he has betrayed them. He has lied to them from the very beginning. The same thing about any family of soldiers who have died who could have lived had Benjamin Netanyahu implemented a ceasefire. This becomes problematic. So I think this was designed to weaken Netanyahu politically in hopes of getting him pushed out of office. It's designed to, begin to erode the foundation of political support that currently exists for Benjamin Netanyahu. And we'll see. This could be a fatal wound.
So maybe the firing of Gallant was Netanyahu's attempt to get his own lies and failures off the front page.
Well, I think he's going to try to shift a lot of the blame onto Gallant. And so by firing Gallant, he now, is able to, blame Gallant and point the finger. And again, Israel Katz is not an incompetent person. He's a very politically savvy politician. He's been around for a long time. He's served in cabinet positions. He's not a neophyte. And so he'll serve Netanyahu well. So I think Netanyahu believes that he can bolster up politically the war cabinet. But we'll see, because there's no guarantee that Katz is going to be a dupe to Netanyahu. Katz is not cut out of the same piece of cloth as Ben Gvir is, and there still will be this hostile dynamic there.
Scott Ritter's assessment of Benjamin Netanyahu unveils the precarious political position the Israeli prime minister now faces. Let's break down the layers of deception, political maneuvering, and the broader implications for Israel and the region. The recent release of classified documents has confirmed what many Israelis have long suspected. Netanyahu has consistently misled the public. These documents reveal his false promises to hostage families and his failure to act decisively when lives were on the line. The families of hostages, a deeply emotional and politically influential group, are now openly accusing Netanyahu of betrayal. For them, the lies are not just political missteps, they are personal and devastating. The realization that their loved ones were used as pawns in a larger political game is fueling a wave of anger that could redefine the political landscape in Israel. The same can be said for the families of soldiers who died in the ongoing conflict. Many of these deaths could have been prevented had Netanyahu chosen diplomacy over prolonged violence. His decision to reject ceasefire opportunities has cost lives unnecessarily, further alienating him from a public already weary of war. Netanyahu is no stranger to political crises. Over the years, he has built a reputation as a master manipulator, someone who can navigate scandal and emerge unscathed. But this time, the stakes are higher, and the opposition is stronger. In an attempt to deflect blame, Netanyahu recently fired Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, a move Scott Ritter describes as a political scapegoating effort. By removing Gallant, Netanyahu hopes to redirect public outrage and paint Gallant as the real culprit behind the government's failures. However, this tactic may backfire. Israel Katz, Gallant's replacement, is a seasoned politician with a reputation for independence. While Katz may provide a temporary boost to the war cabinet, he is unlikely to be a passive ally for Netanyahu. This sets the stage for potential clashes within the government, further destabilizing Netanyahu's already fragile coalition. Netanyahu's political power has always relied on his ability to maintain a broad coalition of support. This includes not only his right-wing base, but also key factions within his government. However, the revelations about his lies and mismanagement are causing fractures in this coalition. The far-right factions that have traditionally backed Netanyahu are beginning to question his leadership. Meanwhile, centrist and left-wing parties are using this opportunity to amplify calls for his resignation. The result is a growing sense of isolation for Netanyahu, as his allies turn against him and his opponents gain momentum. The political crisis surrounding Netanyahu is not just a domestic issue. It has far-reaching implications for Israel's military strategy. As Scott Ritter points out, the ongoing conflict with Hezbollah and the devastation in Gaza have left Israel in a precarious position. Netanyahu's insistence on a military-first approach has not yielded the decisive victories he promised. Instead, it has prolonged the conflict, increased casualties, and weakened Israel's standing on the global stage. The perception of Israel as an unyielding aggressor is growing, particularly as reports of civilian casualties in Gaza continue to make headlines. At the same time, Hezbollah's resilience has exposed vulnerabilities in Israel's military strategy. Despite Netanyahu's claims of progress, Hezbollah remains a formidable threat, with its missile strikes continuing to target northern Israel. This reality starkly contrasts with the narrative Netanyahu has been pushing, further undermining his credibility. Netanyahu's political troubles are not confined to Israel. His actions and policies are also straining relations with key allies, particularly the United States. Washington has long been a staunch supporter of Israel, but the revelations about Netanyahu's deceptions are complicating this relationship. The Biden administration, already cautious about getting too deeply involved in the Middle East, may find it increasingly difficult to justify unconditional support for Netanyahu's government. This could lead to a shift in U.S. policy, with Washington adopting a more balanced approach to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Scott Ritter suggests that these revelations could mark the beginning of the end for Netanyahu. The combination of public outrage, internal dissent, and international scrutiny creates a perfect storm that even Netanyahu may not be able to weather. If Netanyahu is forced out of office, it would be a seismic shift for Israeli politics. His departure would not only end a decades-long political career but also signal a broader reckoning with the policies and leadership style that have defined his tenure. For Israel, this moment represents both a crisis and an opportunity. The country must confront the deep divisions and challenges that have been exacerbated by Netanyahu's leadership. At the same time, it has the chance to chart a new course, one that prioritizes transparency, accountability, and a more balanced approach to both domestic and international challenges. The coming weeks will be critical. Will Netanyahu cling to power through political maneuvering, or will the weight of these revelations prove too much for him to bear? Whatever the outcome, one thing is clear. Israel is at a crossroads, and the decisions made in this moment will shape its future for years to come. First of all, Benjamin Netanyahu is a liar, and he has lied to the Israeli people. With the recent release of documents, Netanyahu has been exposed to the Israeli public as a deceiver. While many already suspected this, there is now no room for debate. The families of the hostages, a politically powerful constituency, now see that Netanyahu has betrayed and lied to them from the very beginning. The same applies to the families of soldiers who died unnecessarily, lives that could have been saved had Netanyahu implemented a ceasefire. This revelation significantly damages his credibility. This situation seems designed to weaken Netanyahu politically, eroding his foundation of support and possibly leading to his ouster. It could be a fatal political wound. Perhaps the firing of Defense Minister Yoav Gallant was Netanyahu's attempt to deflect attention from his own lies and failures. By removing Gallant, Netanyahu may be trying to shift blame onto him and redirect public anger. However, Israel Katz, Gallant's replacement, is no novice. He is an experienced and politically savvy figure, having served in various cabinet positions. Netanyahu likely sees Katz as someone who can strengthen the war cabinet politically, but there's no guarantee Katz will be a loyal pawn. Unlike others in Netanyahu's circle, Katz is not cut from the same cloth as more extreme figures like Ben-Gvir. A tense and hostile dynamic could persist within the cabinet. Thanks for watching.